So here we are on a beautiful London day. It's May, and of course, whenever you don't take your umbrella, inevitably you need it. It's just started raining here, but that won't dampen what is about to happen. We are going to walk inside to meet with Tony Gaziano and Dean Girling and finally see these incredible bespoke shoes that they have been working on making for me. So join me as we walk inside Gaziano and Girling. Tony.
Hi, Kirby.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too.
Dean.
Nice to see you, Kirby.
Yeah, well, it's nice to see both of you
Likewise.
guys together, two of my favorite people, two of the most renowned shoemakers in this country. And I have to say, this has been something I haven't been waiting just months for, but probably years. And that is to have the opportunity to finally have a pair of shoes by you two gentlemen.
Yeah,
so pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, and we're excited to pass them over to you. So
I mean, with Gaziano and Girling, of course, was founded on bespoke shoemaking, and it was the two of you. Tony, of course, being well known for just design and last making, and Dean, you for the making, is really what launched what has now become a global business.
Yeah. No, it's been it's been very successful, and post-COVID as well, the orders seem to be coming in a lot quicker than before. So we're very, very busy, and we've got a great team, and things are looking good. Yeah,
and I think the team is an exciting point because you guys do have really a great team, which in some ways is a testament to the hard work that you guys have been doing over the last 15 years, but is what has allowed you to kind of return back into what really started this all, which is the bespoke.
Yes, from the beginning, from get-go.
Yeah.
It was just bespoke before we launched the ready-to-wear, so yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And it's really hard to find the right team for you as well. You can go through, you can work with a lot of people along the way, and some are good at some things, some are good at others, and even sometimes some people can be great, but they're not really probably conforming to the way that you want them to do it. So we've got a team that now they communicate fantastically with each other. They're friends. There's a lot of respect, and I think that with that communication benefits from developing a product that is as good as we possibly can make.
Well, I'm struggling to contain my excitement here because I see a bespoke box sitting right here, and if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to see these beautiful shoes.
Last one.
Wow. All right. Look at this.
Colour came out gorgeous, yeah?
I mean, this color is exactly kind of as I had, really hoped.
Well, this is obviously this is our Margot patina, which is exactly the same. This is exactly the same shoe that we made for the Prince of Wales. Right. The only difference being is that he didn't have our
quite
kind of
chisel.
Quite as chiseled toe. He had a very kind of.
He didn't go for the iconic Gaziano and Girling toe shape.
Didn't. No,
classic toe shape.
We've still got to educate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So in due time.
Yeah. So, and it's quite an understated color. Doesn't pop out too much.
No, not at all.
But it's got a.
Was his this dark? Because I love the subtlety of this. I mean, it is still conservative.
Yeah.
It's very classic, but it's got that dimensionality to it that you only find in a great patina.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was this dark. There's some pictures around of the shoe that look lighter than this, but that's actually what the patina effect is like. So you go out in kind of normal daylight, all of a sudden the color comes through because it's all about the transparency of the effect.
Yeah.
And in more dim lights like this, the shoe looks darker, making it a little bit more conservative. And wearing, giving you the ability to wear it with lots of different types of clothes.
So you can wear it into the club at night, right, and still get through the front door at like White's or Boodles or Brooksies.
Exactly,
but when you walk out into the street, it's got that dimensionality, and that again, like what you said, is such a unique characteristic of patina done well.
Yes.
Like not just patina, but patina done well.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of companies do it a lot of different ways. There's some patinas that are bright effects and they can look beautiful, and But we tried to be in the business of being just a little bit understated.
And you guys can do the loud and exciting if a customer wants that. But
yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, you guys still are English shoemakers. And so I would imagine that there's
lid on it.
I imagine that there still is quite a bit of demand for, the classic, the conservative.
Exactly.
But the updated.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And this is where, what we really want to be producing, the kind of ornamental, nice,
Well, this is bespoke.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a showstopper.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, not just in the design and everything. I mean, since we have these shoes in front of us, I'd love it if each of you kind of individually spoke about how each of you individually have kind of influenced this, right? So Tony, the last making, the design, the pattern making, what do you see? And then Dean with the making and how really just critical that is to the bespoke process.
Sure.
Kind of what you see in this, because, I mean, it's just so flawlessly executed. I have to say it's a flawlessly executed shoe.
Thank you. Yeah, there's not a there's not a stitch out of place. There's not a corner or angle that's been left undesigned, if you know what I mean. It reflects shape and silhouette in every angle.
Yeah.
But what it also does is it reflects you.
Yeah.
Because it's typically feet are not as symmetrical as kind of ready to wear, made to order products normally look. They reflect, bespoke shoes reflect the shape of the feet a little bit more. And part of the difficulty with bespoke, other than the execution of the quality of the craftsmanship, is creating something that looks dynamic, looks in proportion, and basically when you're spending that kind of money, it looks like an ornament.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've achieved. We've got beautiful proportions going on here. Lovely sweeping shapes going on around the instep and around the back counter. A beautiful kind of chisel toe kind of going on there, and it's just a stunning shoe.
Yeah.
So,
and this is modeled after the St. James.
this is the St. James. Yeah, we have two St. James. We have a 1 and a 2. The only difference being is the 2 has a peak at the cap on the counter. But I think that this is just a fractionally more conservative version of it.
So talk a little bit about how, I mean, the St. James, right? I mean, it's one of your iconic patterns, right? I mean, models. But, again, in the bespoke process, you're not simply just taking that pattern out and cutting it out and then putting it on a bespoke last.
Yeah.
You're taking that model and that inspiration, but doing, again, a bespoke pattern that conforms to the last.
Yeah, exactly.
So talk about how maybe we see that where, like if we were to line this up and, if you could hold them behind one another, this and a stock St. James, how have you kind of modified that pattern to fit this shape and to be even more bespoke?
Well, it all comes down to making the pattern look proportional and beautiful on your shape. So if I was to take, say, like the pattern that we use for the manufactured side and put it straight on here, everything would be twisted in the wrong way because your foot actually has got more curve in it than a typical ready-to-wear shoe. So the caps would be wonky, the proportions here wouldn't sit right, at this distance wouldn't be correct, the opening to get your foot in and out. So, once the last is perfected, what we do is, we start from scratch again. We build the ratio between the cap and the vamp has to be right, otherwise it looks disproportional. This point has to be right. Then we work in this kind of sweeping curve around here so that it's not too low. You have to take in consideration the width of the perforation around here, otherwise it can visually take your eye somewhere where it doesn't want to go. And even the length of the back counter has to be proportionate to all the features in the front of the shoe, so it doesn't look like there's too much detail here and not enough here, or too much here and not enough there. So all those things are taken into consideration when designing the upper part of the shoe. Not only that, but also there's a technical aspect with the way that your foot fits inside the shoe. So there are certain aspects like the depth of the back height, the depth of the outside ankle toe, the vamp point here. All these things have to be in the right place in order for your foot to sit inside the shoe correctly. And that can be and that can depend upon the person's foot in bespoke rather than the standard 8, 9, 10 format of ready to wear.
It's a bespoke pattern cut for your last. Basically, in a nutshell.
Absolutely.
So it's
I mean, it's amazing. Again, as I said, how much more there is in a bespoke shoe than what initially meets the eye. And the other thing is it's got to be comfortable, right? It has to fit. And we filmed the fitting process, right? We had 2 fittings where you could really see the amount of work that goes into making sure that the shoe is comfortable, but also, like what you said, making sure that the weight reacts when you're flexing the foot, whenever it's fully kind of weighted, that it's not tugging, it's not creasing, and that it just sits beautifully.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's a very important aspect of the shoe. So
Well, great. Well, Dean, I mean, again, there's so much more than what initially meets the eye. You, of course, are an exceptionally renowned and highly respected shoemaker. It's, again, how you guys got started. And, the shoemaking craft, actually making a pair of bespoke shoes, is such a practiced, a trade, in that, experience matters. Right? It's not something you can just pick up from the book and then execute well. It really does require just a talent for it, right? A feel for it, but then experience. And so as you look at this shoe and as being, now directly involved in the making, in the bespoke workshop, what is it that you look at when you see this that has you say, this is a perfectly made bespoke shoe?
I look at aesthetic, obviously proportions, as Tony was saying, with the pattern, the cap, the vamp points and everything else. And it goes the same for the making, the sole as well. Joint positioning, the waist, and everything else. The proportion of the heel, the height of the heel, the length of the heel, proportion. So it complements the upper part of the shoe. It's not too bulky. If we had a heel that was coming out here, it'd take the elegance away from the actual shoe. So, and also following the last. So the welt, if you look at this shoe visually from the top, this welt follows the shape of the last, and it's got a nice silhouette of the chisel toe.
Well, and that's one of the things that you're able to do through the hand lasting, is to really achieve these sharper shapes that in a factory-made shoe you're not necessarily going to be able to conform to. Or look at this absolutely incredible waist. The arch support, how narrow this is. How clean it is all the way around there. These are things that, I look at just in awe. And, you've been doing this so long, you probably don't even think about it.
It's a craft that you have to master over many years. You can't learn it in 5 minutes. There's lots of people who make a shoe, but it's a very crudely made shoe, but it takes time and experience to get to this kind of level. Our apprentices, we train them through this to get to this kind of level. It's a beautiful shoe, well proportioned, elegant, very classic.
But I'm still just struck by how flawlessly it's made. Just look, at just the fudging around the waist. Look at how clean this is. Look at this waist. You don't see any of the stitching right here. This is perfectly kind of
It's how it should be, very close to the upper. You shouldn't see the invisible. These are invisible stitches, which you shouldn't see from the top. And in this case, you cannot.
Totally bespoke heel, of course, built lift by lift.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
Look at the shape. Look at the pitch. Look at the
lovely
forward.
pitch, beautiful elegance. Well balanced shoe.
It's really stunning. And then the patina, of course, which Gaziano Girling really, for all intents and purposes, were the first in the United Kingdom to bring into the market. Patina had always been something that was very French. But the English shoemakers, of course, traditionally, wouldn't even touch it. And you guys really took that mainstream here in London.
Thanks very much, traditionally the West End makers, the bespoke houses that have been around forever and a day, didn't really use crust leathers and didn't offer patina.
It was blasphemous. They
Mainly
couldn't
aniline-
imagine.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's, but they mainly use aniline leathers, which are pre-finished by a tannery, but we do this in-house from a crust leather, so start with a very light base colour and then hand.
I mean, it's worth mentioning that all these things are an evolution. It's the ability of the company and the craftsman to adapt to new things. Probably some of the more traditional bespoke houses in the UK simply didn't understand how to do these things, and I think that we're not very young anymore, but kind of starting off as a little bit of a younger company, we've been able to introduce these things, and and I think it shows you how much both me and Dean enjoy the shoemaking process, is that we can bring these things into the business because we understand them and then we embrace them.
Yeah. And it has taken time to evolve. I mean, your company is now 15 years old, right? And you look at this beautiful store that you guys, the first shoe store on Savile Row, and just the diversity of models, the diversity of even ranges. You've got your Optimum, you've got, of course, the standard, Gaziano Girling line, the heritage line, and then you've got, the classics, right? You've got, the patina program. I mean, it's quite significant now in its scope.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and it's all an evolution. I genuinely feel that we're making better bespoke shoes, made to order and factory shoes than we've ever made.
Yeah.
Because we've been learning all the way along, and so has our team as well. So, there's things that we used to do that we don't do anymore, or there's, we're making, absolutely brilliant, great shoes now. So. We're in a good place, and I think customers are recognising this as well. It's not the guys that come in for one pair; it's the guys that come back and back and back. That kind of shows us that we're doing something right.
Yeah.
So,
which I feel like is the ultimate. To really fully experience that bespoke process, you can't just have one pair made, right? And it's through successive pairs that you have, the further evolution of your last, just with time. Your relationship with the shoemakers.
Absolutely.
Maybe you start doing slightly more interesting work. You start out something like this, which for me, is quite classic and conservative.
Yeah.
But then, on your fourth or fifth pair, maybe you're, I don't know, doing something that you never thought you'd be doing.
But no, definitely. I mean, I think there's pleasure in producing both types of things. It's always exciting to kind of work on a project that you've never really worked on before, but it's also nice to work on a more classic project like this, where you can put the emphasis on how well the classic is done. So
that's great. Yeah, and someone was telling me that, I mean, again, almost anything's possible in bespoke, and the gentleman in the store were mentioning how you're doing a bespoke version of this for another client, but as a lazy man, it's never been done before.
that's right. Yeah.
So again, I mean, that type of collaboration, you're able to enjoy through bespoke that you would never find ready to wear.
No, and sometimes we've come across customers that are the best designers. They really have got the imagination of what they want to wear, and it gives us an insight of the variety of different. It certainly helps me on the design side, interacting with customers and understanding what they want from the project.
Yeah, and and it's worth mentioning that not everyone can access bespoke, right? I mean, it is a premium product, and so it's certain connoisseurs, certain people that really you have to appreciate the quality, the craftsmanship and tradition of a bespoke shoe in order to probably be a bespoke customer.
Sure.
But how do you think that bespoke really affects, or really kind of waterfalls down to the rest of the range? Because you look at your standard ready-to-wear stuff, there's a little bit of bespoke in that, right? I mean, bespoke is influencing all of this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously mine and Tony's background was bespoke shoemaking, so we wanted to bring a shoe to the marketplace that had a very bespoke aesthetic, and incorporate some of the bespoke features in a ready-to-wear shoe, which was a beveled fiddleback waist, which wasn't really being done again in the traditional bespoke houses. So you know, we wanted to incorporate that and stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
We were new kids on the block, so we had to stand out with our quality and design features, so that's what we did.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I mean, this is a stunning shoe. I can't stop looking at it, can't take my eye off it, but shall we try them on, you think?
Absolutely, I think it's time to try them on.
Good idea.
Well,
if you want to
Pretty exciting.
take a seat.
So I take it we're not going to cut these up?
No, hopefully not. Sorry.
Beautiful trees.
Yeah, and so light as well when you feel.
I mean, this is a truly bespoke shoe
Yeah.
tree.
It's been completely handcrafted from your last shape.
Wow. And a big part of a bespoke shoe is minimizing the amount of creasing. And that goes into, one, how it's made,
Yep.
and the last design not having any excess.
Yep.
But a bespoke pair of shoe trees really goes a long way in helping
That's right,
also
yeah.
extend that longevity as well, right?
Yeah, definitely, and it kind of pulls some of those creases out, you know. So actually, creasing can be to do with the pattern as well. If you can get these two proportions wrong or sitting in the wrong place, or even on the making side, if the toe puff's too long or too short, that can have an effect on the creasing as well. So let me just,
Oh, excuse me.
there we go. I'm going to let you slip that on.
Wow. Well,
Like I said, there's one way to look at a shoe in hand, but it can look completely different on the foot. So.
and what is the break-in period on a pair of bespoke shoes like?
So, to be honest, for me, is like when you're standing in a pair of shoes, you shouldn't feel any discomfort. So the breaking-in period only really comes through actually walking in them and how you feel once your foot is moving in them. I would say probably 4 or 5 times of short wears in order just to kind of get the leather to reflect in the right places. But anybody really that says, you know, you should put up with a certain level of discomfort to let them break in, you know, that's not the right way to do things. So, all right.
Wow, look at these stunning shoes. And I thought it'd be appropriate to wear my Prince of Wales check
Yeah.
for these beautiful shoes with the Prince of Wales patina.
I think that colouring goes with your suit, absolutely.
Gosh, these are stunning. I mean, I can immediately feel just the arch support.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the way that it just cups under the arch and provides comfort.
It's an amazing silhouette. You know, you can tell already how the foot sits inside the shoe, that everything's sitting exactly where it should do. The lacing, probably 4 or 5 mil open here, which is exactly what we want it to be. The back of the shoe fitting flush to the heel.
It's seamless heels also, I noticed.
Yep, no seam around the back, so very clean cut. Outside top line scoops nicely underneath the outside ankle bone. We had a little bit of an issue at the fitting here, which I think is resolved a little bit. You know, you can normally tell when the fit is really good just by the way the foot slides in the shoe. And, you know, there's no excess depth issues going on there. That bone sits in there perfectly. And, yeah, no.
Absolutely stunning shoes. Dean, what do you think?
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Am I allowed to walk out in them?
I think you are.
Yeah, these are absolutely stunning. Wow. I mean, in dark light, it would appear black, maybe
Yes.
with a little bit of fading just from the patina. But you walk outside, and in the right sunlight, there's just a subtle hint of dimensionality and depth I mean, it's a beautiful kind of oxblood burgundy, really more of a burgundy than an oxblood because of the purple, but dark burgundy, almost black patina. And this is the first pair of shoes, is certainly Bespoke in my wardrobe, that have that dimensionality to it.
I think as well, what's nice is that the silhouette of those shoes could only be Bespoke. It's very identifiable as a Bespoke shoe.
So talk to me about that. So whenever you look at this and you say the silhouette is very identifiable as Bespoke.
Yeah, I think it basically, and this really comes a lot through the making side, it has a sculptured look that the manufacturing just cannot replicate.
Yeah.
A definition, whether it be from how they're trimmed to how the toe cap curves over the toe and comes down the side. It's very ornamental, you know. And you just don't get that from a manufactured shoe.
Yeah, well, the precision of execution. I mean, like what you said, just the shape of the welt around the toe, the way that's trimmed.
Just complement the shape.
You know,
of the
nothing is symmetric about it. It's a chiseled toe.
Yeah.
Right. The toe puff has vertical loft and dimensionality to it.
Yep.
Still has quite sharp edges, and then just the way, you know, that the waist just completely disappears underneath the shoe. I mean, that is distinctly Bespoke.
Yeah. No, they are. They're
and of course the beauty of the heel.
They're a pair of shoes that really I don't want to give to you.
Yeah.
We want to keep them for display. They look that nice.
Well, this is. God, this is incredible. I can't wait to wear these out. I mean, someone that's interested in the Bespoke process, how does one begin that journey with Gaziano and Girling?
They'd either come to the store.
Okay.
Or
So
they
here
come
in London on Savile Row.
Here in London on Savile Row. Or they'd either come to one of our trunk shows. We travel the globe doing trunk shows. So first of all, we take a full draft of their feet. From those measurements, we would craft them a last. From those vital measurements. On that last, we'd create a fitting shoe, which we went through the process with you. And from that fit, we would then cut them open, see where your feet are positioned within the shoe, take some more measurements, tweaks, make notes of how that shoe fitted.
Yeah.
And then from there, we go back to the workshops and create a second fitting shoe, and then bring that to you again. Hopefully we've rectified the little imperfections or whatever they were on the first fitting. So the second fitting should be that much closer.
Yeah.
Normally from the second fitting, we can then
finish.
Go on to the actual shoe.
Yeah.
So whatever tweaks we made there, we should be able to just replicate that on the last, and then make the final shoes which you've received today. And I think you're pretty much happy with the fit.
Yeah.
And how
Can't wait to walk around in them.
How these have turned out.
Yeah.
I mean, from a craftsman's point of view, they
Something to be proud of.
they fit perfectly. Yeah.
I think they've turned out very, very well.
Yeah. What I love about Bespoke is it is really the highest level of the craft.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
the
the
quality,
pinnacle.
the craftsmanship, the tradition. I mean, Bespoke is the zenith.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. You know,
Yeah.
for those that really love shoes or just love the craft, to be able to experience like this, something like this, it's such a representation of just an aggregation of knowledge and skills that stretches back 100, 150 years.
Before machines were invented,
Yeah.
you know, that shoe is made completely by hand. There's one machine involved, and that's it. That does the fine stitching on the upper.
On the upper.
And that's the only machinery involved in the making process of your shoes. So
yeah, it's really incredible.
the soles are stitched on by hand.
Yeah.
The edges are all finished by rasping, sanding.
And even still using glass to finish the heels.
Yes, they'd be rasped and then glassed and then hand sanded.
Yeah.
No machinery involved. No edge trimming machine or anything.
Yeah.
All finished by hand.
And the one thing that I think is unique about Bespoke shoes, you know, it's very similar to shirt making in this regard, and what makes it different than, say, Bespoke tailoring, is that once you get your last to a point that you're happy with it, right, whether that's on the first pair or maybe there's small tweaks with the second, the third, but they'd be minor, then you can just go straight to finish, right? I mean, there's an upfront investment of time to get the fit bang on.
Yes.
Right, and that's what we did through this series. You know, we filmed the measurements, the first fitting, the second fitting, and then today. But, you know, presumably, you know, absent, again, any small tweaks that would only be revealed after long-term wear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I could call you up and tell you to make a black cap to Oxford or a, you know, I don't know,
Yeah.
a bunk strap, or
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, absent going from a lace up to say a casual like a loafer, that would probably require additional fittings.
Yeah, yeah.
We would probably
Same with
craft
the
you
boot.
a different last.
Well, it's on
for
a different
casual.
last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'd be
For
closer
casual.
because of this.
Absolutely.
Than
Yeah.
you would if you just started from scratch.
Yeah. I mean, I still think, I mean, we double check, because there's a lot of times I actually use the same last for casuals, because I actually think that you get away more with a lace, you get away with more things with a lace up. So whereas a casual has to fit perfectly in those dimensions. So, but you know, we do test with the fittings just to make sure it transfers over.
Yeah.
There may be small tweaks for the heel or something.
Yeah.
Shorten heel to ball, depending on your foot again.
Yeah.
You know how it fits into a casual shoe.
Yeah.
It's worthwhile mentioning as well is that, you know, some customers seem surprised when I say, look, you know, when we finish shoes, if there are any teething problems, we can still alter the shoes for you. And they get a little bit worried that once you reach the final product, that's the end of the road.
Yeah.
When it's not.
It's not, yeah.
You know, we can still kind of tweak, you know, little things here and there to kind of keep improving, even on that first pair.
And so of course, you know, they can come to Savile Row, but your trunk shows with the London Collective.
Yeah. Well, we've actually just done one of those. We were out in April. We visited DC, New York, LA, where else? Chicago and Dallas.
And 5 Cs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're going to repeat that in the fall.
Okay.
Maybe there might be an extra city or two in there that we'll do, and customers, I think, are really enjoying the experience of coming up, ordering the made to order, but also seeing what the other vendors do, you know, like spectacles and shirts and suits. So, you know, it's
an entire group of you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And,
4 artisans.
Yeah.
Tailor, shirt maker, spectacle maker, shoemaker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything a man needs.
Yeah.
Everything
In
man
actual
needs,
fact,
yeah.
you know, what's nice about it is that customers can get, say, like the Margot finish, and they can put a cloth next to it, a shirt next to it, and they can really kind of build an outfit while they're there all in one room. So
And someone that wants to access the variation of design of Bespoke, but maybe doesn't have the time or isn't able to travel to meet you guys, there still is the made to order program, which is of the most robust of all of the British shoemakers.
Yeah, so they can still personalise a shoe by choosing their upper leather, lining, sole spec, toe detail, initials in waist, toe tips. So it's a made to order, but it's made in our factory in Kettering, handcrafted in there.
And then of course ready to wear. And as I'm looking at these right here, you have of course the Optimum,
Yes.
which is really interesting because this is allowing a customer to access the craftsmanship of Bespoke.
yes.
And the variation of the made to order, but on a stock glass, so it's just cutting out
Yeah.
the last making part.
So yeah, I mean,
I think it's worth. Sorry.
Sorry,
go on.
if they're happy in a 9E for argument's sake, you know, we'll make them a 9E on that last, but it's completely handmade like the Bespoke version.
Same shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made exactly the same way, but on a ready-to-wear last, which they're comfortable in and happy in.
And some people are happy with, I mean, for some people, that ready to wear last just fits.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
In fact, a lot of our clients still say that are ready to wear, that they're amazed on how our ready to wear lasts have a bespoke feel because of the structure that we put in the shoe, in the made to order shoes.
So even Bespoke clients that have both comment on that.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's you know, we have about 130 styles of made to order, 50, 60 different leathers, several different last shapes, 5 or 6 different types of soles, 8,000 combinations of different shoe, and if the customer can't choose from that, then what else
God
can
help
we do?
them. That's right. Yeah. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you for, of course, sharing, you know, your passion of quality, craftsmanship, and tradition with all of us here.
Pleasure.
And I can't wait to wear these shoes out.
Yeah.
Dean?
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Tony?
Great to see you again,
Yeah, thank you
Kirby,
so
and
much.
I hope
Thank
you
you.
enjoy the shoes.
It's without doubt.
Yeah, fantastic.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Wow. I mean, how excited I am. What a journey, what a process, and to have finally arrived here at Gaziano and Girling with a bespoke pair of shoes from the masters themselves, Tony Gaziano and Dean Girling. I truly do feel like I just had a pair of shoes made for me by true legends in the industry. And I have to tell you, these shoes fit beautifully, they look incredible, and boy am I excited to wear them. Of course, I'm Kirby Allison, and I love to help the well-dressed acquire and care for their wardrobes while exploring the world of quality, craftsmanship, and tradition. Thanks for watching today.